Hello. Hello. Welcome to the podcast. It's inside today. It's not outside. I would be outside. It was nice today, but I got a little bit too much sun yesterday, so I don't know if you can see. I got a little burn yesterday sitting in my pool. So there was going to be no outside podcast today like last week. Plus, if anybody watched last week, you'll know if you've watched the podcast enough, you'll know I was a little bit. I had a little bit to drink, so it was it was interesting. It was the first time we ever done that. So when it gets sunny outside, I kind of want to be out there, especially since I have a pool, I have the equipment, I have all that kind of stuff. So don't blame me. But welcome back to the inside. If you are watching, and if you do watch, thanks for watching. Got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Jeez. Looks like there's more info now on the whole Trump assassination attempt. It just keeps coming out. It keeps trickling out. It's just weird. It's weird that they don't seem to be taking it super, super serious. You'd think they'd be taking a presidential candidate and former president assassination attempt serious, but they don't seem to be. But anyways, we'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about the crazy opening ceremony at the Paris Olympics. If you're religious or you're Christian or anything like that, or you're even if you respect that kind of thing, you'll see that it was kind of weird and looked very blasphemous. But I don't know. It's up to you to discern whether you think that or not. We'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about Biden and his exit sort of strategy. It looks like he's probably going to go out with a bang. He's going to try and do some things before he leaves. What do you got to lose, I guess. So we'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about, this one scares me. Hopefully I'm wrong on this one, but maybe a future pandemic or the next future pandemic just in time for said election. So a little bit of information about stuff like that coming out. We'll talk about that. Try and dance around that subject, since it'll just get the video banned or shadow banned at the very least. So we'll talk about that. Also, Deadpool Wolverine, the movie. I went to see it. I'm going to do a little review on that. Great movie. But yeah, if you've seen it already, you'll know, if you didn't like it, you'll think it was garbage, but it did kick ass at the box office. So whether you like it or not, too bad. It doesn't need you to like it. So we'll talk about that. And lastly, we'll talk about HP. So Hewlett Packard being maybe the next big stock to take a look at if you're trying to get into the sort of tech boom. They're making some moves. Could be something to get in a little bit on a lower level. So again, don't take stock advice from me, but we'll talk about it anyway. If you do watch the podcast, you like it, and you aren't already a subscriber, do hit that subscribe. That helps. I should do this. Actually, I should move over and do this. See? Look right behind me. Subscribe. I drew that, by the way. That helps a small channel like mine grow. If you like it. If you don't, well, just skip along. There's a ton of podcasts out there. A ton of podcasts talking about the same type of stuff I talk about. So you just check those out. But if you like mine, subscribe, like, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. If you miss any part of the podcast and you want to see the segments in smaller bites, you can get them during the week. I usually post them. Sometimes all of them, sometimes not. Kind of depends on how I feel. Anywhere between Tuesday and Sunday, and they drop at 5 o'clock Eastern. So if you want to catch them those times, you can. And obviously, if you do like, share, all that kind of stuff, those videos, that helps the channel grow. So, all right. Oh, hey, there you are. Howdy from Walvis Bay. I could see. I don't know where Joe is today. Joe's late or playing hooky today. I don't know. But I'm sure he'll jump back in the chat at some point. But good to see you in the chat. If anybody's watching and you do want to say hi in the chat. I always respond to all of you. I say hi. I engage. That's part of a podcast. I think you should. Until I get too big where I can't, if that ever happens. For now, take advantage. And all you people that jump in now, while I'm not big, I'll remember you. And I'll always make sure I comment on your comments. So you can kind of be, you can be a big fish in the little pond. There you are, Joe. What's up, buddy? No, well, I don't know what's going on then. If you were first message, although I do know there was a bit of a problem with Streamlabs opening, so it could be that maybe you messaged and it was somewhere in the first section there or something like that. So that's why I was like maybe a minute late. But well, you're here now, so that's all that matters. So okay, let's get on to the first topic here, because I'm sure we'll have a little back and forth on this. Let me get this all set. All right. What were you saying there? Oh, that's what you wrote. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sometimes that happens, right? When I go to get started, something happens, it froze up. I thought, uh-oh, here we go. But I got it back up pretty quick, so that was good. Okay, here we go. Let me pop this browser up here. So yeah, if you've been following, if you haven't been under a rock, you know that there was an attempt on Trump's life a few weeks back, but new information just keeps coming out. This is crazy. Now it looks like U.S. Today's got a little bit of it, and this is the funny thing. All the mainstream news media are actually reporting kind of legit on this a little bit. You can tell that they're being quiet on certain things, on certain aspects of it, but I think they know they can't really hide a lot of this, so they're just kind of getting out there, which is kind of good to see. But I'm going to read this. This is by USA Today, and as we know, they're a bit of a dumpster fire, but I do like to read stuff from them from time to time, because you get more of a left-leaning perspective, but they're not the worst. So let's see what they have to say here. So Trump gunman spotted 90 minutes before shooting, texts show, SWAT team speaks. Members of a local SWAT team at the scene the day former President Donald Trump was shot spoke out for the first time Monday, citing communication failures with the Secret Service, but acknowledging that we all failed that day. Excuse me. I remember standing in the parking lot talking to one of the guys after the July 13th shooting. Mike Priolo, member of the Beaver County, Pennsylvania SWAT team, said on ABC's Good Morning America, "We just became part of history, and not in a good way." Also Monday, ABC News reported obtaining text messages indicating that would-be gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks drew the attention of a sniper more than 90 minutes before the shooting began on the grounds of the Butler Farm Show. That is more than a half hour earlier than previously reported. So, see, as it goes on, we're finding new, like more and more information, right? If you watch the Patrick Bet-David podcast, he actually did a really good summary of sort of what they know up to that point, talking about a third gunman, technically a third gunman, but really what they've expected is two gunmen. The first being Crooks, the second being the sniper, but they're detecting a sort of a third gunman, or speculating that there's a third gunman. Sounds a lot like Grassy Knoll. A sniper leaving the area where local SWAT members assembled texted the others that he saw Crooks sitting to the direct right on a picnic table about 50 yards from the exit. He also texted that Crooks saw him leave the area with a rifle, so he knows you guys are up there. About an hour before the shooting, sniper team member Gregory Nickel told Good Morning America he saw Crooks take a rangefinder from his pocket. Now, that's the weird thing. Rangefinder isn't kind of like, it's not like binoculars or something like that. It's kind of a weird thing to have. It's sort of specific to shooting, which is, should have been kind of a red flag for them to say, what's this guy got a rangefinder for? But though rangefinders were not banned from rallies, Nichols said Crooks' picture took Crooks' picture and called in a warning of suspicious presence. He was looking up and down the building, Nichols said. It just seemed out of place. Crooks opened fire shortly after 6, killing rally attendee Corey Compentor, 50, wounding Trump in the ear and critically injuring 2 other men. A Secret Service sniper on the other roof fatally shot Crooks, authorities say. "I think we all failed that day," Pirillo said. "People died, and if there was anything we could have done to stop that, we should have." Well, duh. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, their tips. The Secret Service responsible for the security that day typically supported by local law enforcement. Jason Woods, team leader for Beaver County's Emergency Services Unit and SWAT Sniper Section, told Good Morning America his team was supposed to meet with the Secret Service before the event, but they didn't, strangely enough. That's kind of weird. "That was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong because the meeting never happened," Woods said. He had no communication not until after the shooting. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle took responsibility for the the security breakdown and resigned from her post. So now it looks like Trump's gonna actually do like an interview, standard interview and stuff. It just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like to me anyway, this is kind of taking a while for how important this was and is. You'd think that there would be a lot more, haste to try and get to the bottom of this, but weeks? I mean, geez, just seems like they're just dragging their feet on this and nobody really cares that much, which is kind of crazy to me. Let me move over this way. I'll center myself out a little bit. But I don't know. Like I said, if you want to catch sort of a really good summary of it, go check out Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment. There's a video where he talks about sort of what they know up to that point. I think he dropped it about a week ago, something like that, maybe less, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. It's just really good. It's a really good sum up and questions a few things, like I said, third gunman, that kind of thing. So just check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you guys say here? Yeah, I know. They're saying there's no scar in his ear. There's all kinds of bullshit. The problem with something like this, I find, is that they just know now that they just throw enough fucking shit against the wall and it just sullies the whole thing up, and then nobody knows what to believe. So they just, they mix the truth in with the garbage, and it's just like it's the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater, right? So, and then people just get tired of it. They run the news cycle, they just overdo the news cycle on it with no new information, and people kind of get tired of it, and then they just go, well, move on to the next thing. That's kind of what happened here. It's disturbing when you think about it. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure Trump could afford the best ear-fixing doctor money can buy. That being said, I'm pretty sure he used hair to cover it. Yeah. I don't know if he's missing ear or what had actually happened, if it blew the tip off of his ear or what. But it's not like something that I feel like you're right. That could be fixed pretty easily. It's just a little cartilage up here, right? I hear that the Butler rally was the only Trump rally they ever played live on CNN. Yeah, exactly. That's what Tim Pool said, right? So it's a bit strange, little strange. It's all strange, right? Nothing really makes sense with it, so it's just crazy. We're gonna get more and more information that's gonna come out. It's either gonna clarify things or muddy the water more. I don't know. I don't know what to say on this. There's reports saying that Crooks maybe didn't even fire a shot, and the 5 shots that he fired, the timing on it was 0.77 seconds. That's apparently quite fast. I think the world record or something is like 0.54 seconds or something for 5 shots. So you'd have to be a pretty damn good gunman. And they're trying to dismiss the distance. 430 feet is, we're talking a football field? Like, it's more than a football field. That's a long distance to shoot somebody and try and hit him in the head and miss by literally millimeters. If he just turned his head a little bit, he didn't miss. He really hit him. He didn't miss. I mean, he only missed because of something, right? Because Trump turned his head in the wrong way. So, no, apparently that's for an automatic rifle too. That's what it is. Like the way they pop. Like, if you ever shot an AR-15 or equivalent gun, and I have it. The way it does it, you just hold the trigger down. It's a pop, 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 pop. Like it goes quick, but I don't know. Apparently, that's the fastest that somebody can do it. I don't know. I think Patrick Bet-David was the one talking about it, but either way, it can be done. Yeah, 0.77 can be done. It's just quick. It's really quick. And this kid that was like a subpar gunman, he couldn't even make his rifle team. On his high school. It doesn't seem legit, but I don't know. Who knows? He fired the second lot of 5. Yeah, or he fired the second 4. The one that missed. Maybe he didn't fire that one. I don't know. Hard to say. Very, very weird stuff. All right, let's get on to the next thing here. All right. So the opening ceremonies in Paris were weird. As shit like this is always weird. Drag queens, awesome. They just got to make everything, I guess. But it looks like they had to to make a mockery of religion in this one. Whether you think they did or not, I don't know. It's up for speculation, I guess, but it sure as heck looks like it if you watch the video. I'm going to read this article. This is Fox Business. Yeah, let's see what Fox has to say about it. A little bit more right-leaning, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? MSM anyway. So, tech company pulls Olympics advertising after opening ceremony display may deem to be anti-Christian. So the 2024 Olympic ceremony opened up the games in Paris, France on Friday night, providing spectators with a taste of French culture and blasphemous art, leading to Christians around the world being offended and at least one sponsor dropping out. Mississippi-based telecommunications and technology company C Spire posted on X that it had pulled all of its advertising from the Olympics over the ceremony's mockery of a painting created to show a biblical moment crucial to the Christian faith. So it's the Last Supper painting by Leonardo da Vinci. We were shocked by the mockery of the Last Supper during the opening ceremonies of the Paris Olympics, the company posted. C Spire will be pulling all advertising from the Olympics. The 4-hour spectacle was held along the Seine River, which, by the way, here's a little brag. Been there. Disgusting, by the way. Gross. Just full of piss and bleh. It's a gross river. Disgusting. People just piss off the side. It's awful. Featuring global stars like Celine Dion and Lady Gaga, both of whom are considered icons for the queer community. All right. Drag queen Nikki Doll, who competed in the 12th season of RuPaul's Drag Race and has hosted Drag Race France, participated in a fashion runway segment with a Drag Race France Season 1 winner, Paloma, Season 3's Piche, and Giselle Palmer. I love how it's just riddled in everything now at this point, like drag and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's a small subsection of the culture, but it's like just crammed down your throat in every way they can. It's just weird to me. I don't understand. Like, you're just trying to oversell it at this point. And why do something like this that looks like something, like it looks like it's set up like the Last Supper and it looks like it's mocking that? Whether or not it was, of course they're going to say they weren't doing that. They're going to use Greek mythology and all this kind of stuff and throw that shit in there. But regardless of what they meant by it, it looks away. So it's going to be interpreted that way. The queens initially stood alongside the runway while gazing at the strutting models, then later joined in and showcased their own style. Ooh. Among their performances was a scene that appeared to evoke Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, featuring the drag queens and other performers in a configuration reminiscent of Jesus Christ and his apostles, which drew significant attention and mixed reactions, not just from C Spire, but people around the world. Da Vinci's widely admired masterwork is in Milan, Italy. So I'm proud to see the private sector in Mississippi put their foot down. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, said on X, "God will not be mocked." C Spire drew a common sense appropriate line. One user posted to X that the opening ceremony sucked and was filled with blasphemy. There are over 2 billion Christians around the world, and many love to watch the games. The user wrote, "Why would you make fun and open with that?" Well, here's the thing. Here's my take on it. Here's my 2 cents. Play a little bit of Steelman here. Who cares? Who cares if they're mocking? Like, it doesn't. If you don't like it, turn it off. Whatever, right? Yeah, it's. I don't know. I think to be sensitive about anything at this point, like, there's so much blasphemy of every different thing going on. People make fun of just about everything except for the alphabet group. Very, very hard to make fun of them because you get canceled and shit on for that. But I would rather be the side that is, just laughs off shit and looks at it like, well, fuck you. If you want to make fun of something like that, you want to belittle something that's been around that, that transcends your bullshit movement. Go nuts, I guess. Whatever you want to do. It doesn't really bother me. But, again, and if they are trying to do it, well, that just makes them shitheads. So, I don't know. You think what you like, I guess. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. But I don't personally get bothered by this kind of shit. I grew up Catholic and Christian. I'm not really religious at this point. I would say I'm kind of agnostic. But, I revere it. And I revere most religions. I think I think I think good faith in religion and trying to be a good person is a good thing, and I don't think you should, be blasphemous towards any religion. Just leave it out of your, leave it out of your mouth. Like, leave it out of the vernacular, leave it out of the, out of your stupid opening ceremonies. There's other ways to do things. You don't have to do that, but I don't know. I think it's this might be the aim, right? To try and be controversial. It's getting talked about. It's in the news. It draws attention to the Olympics. Maybe that was that's the angle. I don't know. The poop stain that put it out. This I forget the guy's name is, but he's probably trying to draw a name for himself, and he gets he gets backlash from the people that he doesn't care about getting backlash from, and he gets support from the people that he wants to get support from. So it's probably all contrived. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's stupid, but at the same time, not really going to hurt my feelings. Let me see. Oh yeah, the 6 was the end of a miss plan. Yeah, I agree with that. I think. I think it was botched. We're talking now about the Trump thing, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that whole thing? Did you see any of it? Did you actually see the opening ceremony? I really didn't. I just kind of got snippets. I'm not gonna watch a 4-hour friggin' ceremony for the Olympics. I barely catch the Olympics anyway. I'll watch little bits and pieces here. I don't really watch TV, but Pamplemousse, Tyler Smith, what's up? Yeah. Those freaky French, man. They do some weird shit over there. All right, let's get on to the next thing. You guys aren't talking much about that one, so let's get on to Biden here. All right. Oops. Here we go. Okay, so is Biden going to do some stuff on his way out? It's kind of a speculation. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's going to be out in, 4 months? And he can do some shit to try and change some stuff before he leaves, make some executive actions, and, I don't know, maybe change the political landscape for the next president. Whoever you think is going to win. I mean, I have my feelings about who's going to win and who's not going to win and how they're going to win and all that. But anyways, let's just get on to this. I digress. So this is an NBC News article, obviously dumpster fire, but let's see what they have to say. It said Biden calls for Supreme Court reforms and constitutional limits on presidential immunity. Oh, I wonder why you're calling for constitutional limits now at the end of your term. That's weird. President Joe Biden on Monday called for an overhaul of the Supreme Court and a constitutional amendment limiting the power of his own office, reforms that might not be implemented but demonstrate his priorities in his final months in office. I served as a U.S. Senator for 36 years. 36 years? You mean 3,600 years? Including as chairman and ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. I've overseen more Supreme Court nominations as senator, vice president, and president than anyone living today. Biden wrote, I have great respect for our institutions and separation of powers. What is happening now is not normal, and it undermines the public's confidence in the court's decisions, including those impacting personal freedoms. We now stand in a breach. Biden called for a constitutional amendment saying former presidents don't have any immunity from federal criminal indictments, trials, convictions, or sentencing. That's kind of funny to me that he's calling for that, considering he might be in some hot water, once he's out of office, if he were to get rid of that. I share our founders' belief that the president's power is limited, not absolute. The president wrote, "We are a nation of laws, not of kings or dictators." Unless he knows he's got some kind of, buffer against all that. The amendment is in line with Biden's recent statements that no president is above the law, a refrain he has repeated several times since the Supreme Court said some actions related to the duties of the president can't be prosecuted. The decision favors former President Donald Trump in criminal cases against him and could enable other former presidents to avoid certain criminal charges going forward. Biden also expressed support for Congress to create term limits for Supreme Court justices, saying he favors 18-year terms, which he believes would prevent one president from having multi-generational influence on the judiciary. I kind of agree with that, but it's funny that he's talking about that now, because if you see here, this is the 9 justices right now that are in Supreme Court. So you got Clarence Thomas, who's the longest since 91, so he's been serving 33 years plus. His term limit would have already ended in 2009, so he'd be immediate, done. Then you've got John G. Roberts. Oh, and by the way, Clarence Thomas is probably one of the more conservative justices. Then you got John G. Roberts, also another conservative. He would end now, so he'd be done. Samuel Alito also would be done this year. So that's 3, what do you call it, Republican-leaning or conservative-leaning justices that would be ousted right away. So you'd get 3 appointees. Bang. That would completely change the Supreme Court, obviously. Then you've got Sotomayor, who is probably the most left-leaning of all of the justices. She'd be out by 2027. Then Kagan the year after, which is another left-leaner. Then you've got 3 right-leaners, 3 conservatives here in Kavanaugh, Barrett, and Gorsuch. And then you've got the newly appointed Jackson, who's got till 2040. So obviously that favors the Democrats if that were to take place now, right? They get rid of 3, and then they've got a few years for another 2 to be done. But if their plan is that they're going to win this next election with their appointed candidate at this point, not duly elected candidate, they could get 5 in the next cycle. They could have bang 5 in there, and it'd be a 5-2 at this point, sort of 6-3 at this point, which just swings it back their way. So, anyways. Let me continue to read here. In addition to term limits, Biden called on Congress to make Supreme Court subject to the kind of enforceable ethics requirements imposed on other federal judges regarding gifts, political activities, and financial dealings. Obviously, that makes sense. Biden is scheduled to deliver remarks Monday afternoon at the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library in Austin, Texas. The president will lay out his proposals at a celebration of the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act, signed by President Lyndon Johnson in '64. The event was rescheduled after the assassination attempt on Trump at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania on July 13th. Okay, so it looks like this keeps going on a little bit, but it would look like he's going to try and do some stuff to set up for the future Democrats, which is probably something that Trump should have done before he got out of office, but he didn't. In good faith, probably thought he was going to get back in, but he didn't. So what do you think? You think it's, do you think they'll do anything? Do you think this is bluster? Or you think he's just going to kind of sleep his way to the end of his presidency? Of course, yeah. Who gave them a mandate? Yeah, it would be, it's funny. The weird thing about it is, it seems like, to me anyway, it's just from the outside, seems to me like the Democrats play chess and the Republicans play checkers. Or they're both playing chess, and they're both on the same side. So, either way, you got the uniparty playing chess, or 2 parties, and one's playing chess and the other's playing checkers. So, the Democrats seem to be the ones that do a lot, get a lot more sort of done in those ways, and they're setting up and maybe do some shady, nefarious stuff. But I don't know. Anyways, they need Congress to pass this. It won't happen. I hope so. I hope so. But again, if I am right and there's a uniparty, maybe, I don't know. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if he goes out with a bang or if he goes out with a whimper. I hope it's a whimper, because let him just go to sleep and be done with it. All right, let's get on to the next thing here. This one, this one's gonna get me in trouble. Okay, so I'm gonna try and blow past this, and I probably won't even post a video of this, because if I post a video on this, I'm probably just gonna be in trouble. So let's go. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen this or you heard about this, but you've probably heard in the last couple of years about the avian flu, influenza that's been going around. It's been kind of kicking around for about 10 years or so, and you get little flare-ups, little whatever. Comes up, comes down. They talk about it a little bit here and there, but this will surprise you. This is the United States Government Federal Register. So I'm going to show you this I'm going to show you this page here that talks about it, and I'm going to show you the CDC page that also talks about it. So it's Declaration of Emergency pursuant to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. So here we go. So I'm just going to read the summary. Here's the summary. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, HHS, is issuing this notice pursuant to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic, the FD&C Act, on July 18th, 2024, so a week and a half ago. The Secretary amended the April 19th, 2013 declaration made pursuant to the FD&C Act regarding the avian influenza A, or H79N virus, and determined pursuant to his authority under the Act that there is a significant potential for a public health emergency, that has a significant potential to affect national security or the health and security of the United States citizens living abroad, and that involves biological agents, namely pandemic influenza A viruses and influenza A viruses with pandemic potential. Okay, so you can dissect that yourself. There's a couple things, couple important language in that. Obviously, public health emergency. That would be a big thing. Here's what the CDC says about the avian influenza. So here we go. What to know. In this week's Spotlight, we include the key findings from the recent Michigan-led study that tested the blood of farm workers from 2 dairy farms that experienced an outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza virus among cattle. The study looked for antibodies that would indicate infection with the virus. None of the blood samples collected from people who had been exposed to infected dairy cows showed avian influenza neutralizing antibodies, so meaning that they don't have antibodies to fight it, which is a problem. This is an important finding because it suggests that asymptomatic infections in people are not occurring and provides support to the current testing approach, i.e. collecting samples from symptomatic people who have been exposed to sick animals. Okay, so here we go. CDC update, July 19th, 2024, so the day after that last one. CDC continues to respond to the public health challenge posed by a multi-state outbreak of avian influenza, influenza A virus, or H5N1 bird flu in dairy cows, poultry, and other animals in the United States. CDC is working in collaboration with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Drug Administration, Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response, state police or state public health and animal health officials, and other partners, including a One Health approach. Since April 2024, 10 human cases of avian influenza A, H5 infection have been reported in the United States. 4 of these cases were associated with exposure to sick dairy cows, and 6 were associated with exposure to avian influenza, or H5N1 infection, or infected poultry. This includes 2 additional cases in Colorado that were confirmed by CDC this week and not previously reported. The 2 new cases were in poultry workers with exposure to infected poultry during depopulation and disposal activities. Similar to previous cases, illness was mild. Based on the information available at this time, CDC's current H5N1 bird flu human health risk assessment for the U.S. general public remains low. On the animal health side, USDA is reporting that 153 dairy cow herds in 13 U.S. states have confirmed cases of avian influenza, H5N1, virus infections in dairy cows as the number of infectious herds continues to grow. USDA reports that since April 2024, there have been H5 detections in 34 commercial flocks and 16 backyard flocks for a total of 18.32 million birds affected. So goes on and on. Obviously, at that point, it just starts getting a little bit thick. But to sort of dissect this a little, you can read between the lines of what this is saying. Obviously, this is talking about the sort of, and I'm just summarizing here from what I've read. I'm not gonna make any bold assertions to this, but it's obviously saying that they're looking at this H5N1 as a potential risk to humans, and they've basically, this is sort of the first stage of the Emergency Act. Now, if you remember, the Emergency Act gave powers during the pandemic for the government to enact all kinds of restrictions on your movement, everything you can do, all your freedoms. So, having said that, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is preliminary. Obviously, this is just something that they've released, and they're just but this is new, and it's the timing's weird. We'll say that. I'm not gonna say too much about it because again, it's preliminary. I don't really. There's not a lot being said about it. So it's this could be something that they might be trying to push ahead of an election cycle. I said it. I said could be. I don't know, but the timing's a little weird. So let me know what you think in the comments. Go do some research for yourself, and you come up with your own conclusions, I guess. What are you saying there, buddy? Poppycock. Bird flu is a flu virus that typically affects birds, but in rare cases can spread to other animals and humans. Experts. Sorry, what did you say? Experts in industry indicated that. Yeah, well, yep, that's true. But scare tactics, buddy. Scare tactics. They don't need to. They don't need to necessarily prove any of it. Really, they just kind of speculate, right? So, if they can say that 10 people contracted it, well, that could be enough to scare people, right? And ahead of an election cycle, we've seen what they did last time, mail-in ballots and all that kind of stuff. So, it gets a little goofy. Waiting for the new gain of function enhanced virus variety that has been prepared. yeah. It's we live in weird times right now. You don't need. It's like there's so much information out there that they don't really need to have good information or credible information. You just have to have enough stuff to scare the masses into going along with whatever agenda they want. At this point, I would think the agenda would be similar to the last cycle. I'm trying to speak in riddles here so I don't get hammered. But yeah, I think all of you get my gist. You get my point. Scary. It's scary stuff because I want to say that I don't think they'd get away with another run of this shit, but I don't know. It seems like people went along with lock, stock, and barrel the first time, so this second time they may not need as much to get through this cycle this time around, So, what are you saying? Good segue into CBDCs. Yeah, we could talk about CBDCs. I didn't really prepare anything about it, but Trump says he's not going to do them. He says he's completely against doing them. So there's another reason to fight him, to not allow him to get into power. Polyev won't do it either. So get those two guys in power, we at least push it off for another 4 to 8. Well, in Canada, there's no term limits as far as prime minister, so we can push it off for as long as Polyev is in power, as long as he actually has power, as opposed to if he got a minority government and then power was with the NDP and Liberals to just make decisions around him, essentially. But no more boiled eggs and ham or beef for that matter. Well, you gotta be careful. Yeah, we should talk about that for sure. Next time we're having a around the fire beer. Maybe we'll even do a kind of a special little podcast about it. Now that I know how to do that kind of live broadcast with my phone, just do it by the pool, by the fire, no big deal. Last one seemed to work pretty good, so we could do that instead of having this. We could do it anytime, really. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. Sorry, hold on. Not beer, bubbly. It'll give me the burps. All right, let me get into the second last thing I'm going to talk about here. Getting the fluff pieces now. This is probably when you'll tune me out, Art. All right, here we go. Okay, obviously you know that Deadpool Wolverine just came out. If you don't know, well, it did. So awesome. It was a good movie. I went to see it. I went to see it actually probably, I guess, opening night. I went to see it on Thursday. It's now done crazy at the box office. Basically over 200 million at the box office. I think globally it's like over 400 million. I think this article will probably say it, but this is CNN Business talking about it. It is the biggest R-rated debut of all time. And let me just read a part of this article. It's CNN, so I don't want to get too much into it because they're a dumpster fire, but let's see what they have to say. So Deadpool and Wolverine barreled through the 200 million benchmark, cementing the blockbuster as the record holder for the highest grossing opening weekend for an R-rated movie. Excuse me. According to studio estimates, Deadpool and Wolverine, the 34th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe lineup, has grossed 205 million in domestic sales and 338 million globally in its debut. The first Deadpool movie set the record for the highest grossing opening weekend for an R-rated film when it was released in 2016 to roughly 132 million, and Deadpool 2 cinched the second place spot with 125 million in domestic sales in 2018. But even adjusted for inflation, both films pale in comparison with the third installation's debut. Deadpool and Wolverine is now also among the top opening weekends ever, ranking at number 8, a hair's breadth below 2012's The Avengers at 207 million, and just above 2018's Black Panther at 202. So it's funny. Honestly, the thing about this movie is it's really funny. It's violent, but it's got that hokey sort of violence that isn't like super grotesque graphic. I mean, at times it's a little graphic, but it's like, it's that comic type violence. But because of the comedy that's just peppered through it, it makes it funny and enjoyable to watch. And I'm not even a big fan of these types of movies. I'm really not a like action genre guy, but Ryan Reynolds and what's his face? Jeez, I can't even remember his damn name. Hugh Jackman are just hilarious together. It's really, really funny. If you haven't already checked it out, if you haven't watched it, if you're not one of the many that have checked it out, go take a watch. Let me know what you think in the comments. What are you saying there, Art? Only to say that this movie was promoted on the Alpine F1 car and spa Francorchamps this past weekend. I have to admit it was a cool car wrap. Oh yeah. It's at this point it's number 3, right? In a really good series of movies. They can make 10 of these things and people are going to watch them just because Ryan Reynolds is fucking hilarious. And it doesn't really get old. It's what it is, right? Like the storyline was kind of meh, I don't know. But it didn't matter. Even if it was a better storyline, I think it's the same. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't change it. It's kind of, you're just watching it for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and the banter between them. It's just funny. It's just fun. And then they added a couple people, like, I don't know what the guy's name is, but if you've ever watched Succession, the one guy, he's from that. He plays sort of the bad guy, sort of the villain in this movie. He's just funny too. He's just got a good delivery. It's just the casting was really good on this movie, so they did a good job. It'll probably be one of the best Marvel movies at this point. It'll be right up there at least, if it doesn't surpass them all, and it'll cement another like 3 or 4 probably in this series, right? Yeah, Reynolds is great. I mean, what are you saying? Oh yeah, Joe's waiting for it to pirate it. Yeah, the theater release in Apuo, you only got 1,300 people there. Jeez, you'll have like 1,000 people go to see it out of 1,300. Yeah, it was good though. It was really good. I gotta admit, I was thoroughly entertained the whole way. Yeah, Deadpool is hilarious. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, they couldn't have picked better for Deadpool, but Hugh Jackman was really good in this. Like, he just, yeah, you have to see it. I don't want any spoilers on it, but he's really, really quite good in it. And fuck, man, is he jacked for 55? Jeez, he's got the right name. I just went gay there, sir. All right, let's get on to the last thing here. Boom, boom, boom. All right. In the year of buying stocks related to like AI and tech, what's next? Like, a lot of people are talking about Nvidia and how they missed the boat on Nvidia. I don't think so necessarily. I think it's probably going to be like Apple. It's just going to keep going up. Like, if you buy Apple now, I think you still make money on it for the next while. But HP is kind of stepping into the frame here. I'm going to read this article here. This is Yahoo Finance. We'll give them a little bit of exposure. I'm sure they have like 4 or 5 readers. But let's see what they say. So, should value stocks value investors buy Hewlett Packard, while the proven Zach. Oh, I'm not gonna read this part. Here we go. Hewlett Packard is a stock many investors are watching right now. HPE is currently sporting Zach's rank of number 2, a buy, as well as an A grade for value. The stock is trading with a price to earnings ratio of 10.18 right now. For comparison, its industry sports an average of 18.12. So obviously that's a buy. If the industry average is 18.12 over the past 52 weeks, HP's forward PE has been as high as 10.8 and as low as 7.16 with a median of 8.39. So they're lower than the industry average. They're staying there. So already it looks like a good buy. So that right away, without them doing anything, this looks like it's a pretty solid buy. HP is also sporting a PEG ratio of 2.33. This figure is similar to the commonly used PE ratio, with the PEG ratio also factoring in a company's expected earnings growth rate. The HPE's industry currently sports an average PEG of 4.02 over the last 12 months. HPE's PEG has been as high as 2.78 and as low as 1.68 with a median of 2.24. Again, lower than the average. Pretty good. So value investors also use the PS ratio. The PS ratio is calculated as price divided by sales. Some people prefer this metric because sales are harder to manipulate on an income statement. This means it could be a true performance indicator. HPE has a PS ratio of 0.95. This compares to its industry average PS of 2.53. Again, lower. So this all shows well. And if you know anything about the current history with this stock right now, they're looking at a merger with another company. I think it's a UK company for $14 billion, trying to get themselves into that sphere. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get ahead of the AI race, and they're going to try and be one of the major providers of of laptops and PCs that incorporate AI. So that would be what it appears to me. But I'm going to show you here the stock price. So you can see the average over the last little. The 1 day is nothing, but check this out. This is the year to date. Look at the year to date. You got a 21% increase year to date on Hewlett Packard. Let's see in the last 5 years, 80%. So this is a blue chip type stock that's got a nice performance. You can see the curve. The general curve is on an upward curve here. And now with this news of this potential merger, I think they'll know by Wednesday or something like that. This could be big for the stock. So ahead of that, might be a good time to buy this stock. Again, I'm not offering stock advice on this channel because it's not something I do. But if you're looking for a potential stock to buy right now and you feel like you missed the boat on NVIDIA, HP might be the thing to take a look at. Okay, what are you saying here there, buddy? Yeah, listen, Joe. I sometimes show a little gay, but I'm not, so it's fine. The entire Namibia is one commercial movie theater. Oh, really? Wouldn't have known that. I know nothing about Namibia. Namibia. Although tech occupies much of the S&P 500, top 7 stocks account for a major part of valuation. The PE is attractive here. Also attractive is if you go deeper to technical trading. RSI 47 trades nicely with Bollinger Bands. If you get super nerdy and look at all that shit, I'll email you a series of parallel processing will blow your mind. Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes HP laptops are a little shitty. I'm on an HP laptop right now, so it runs okay. I found them a little shitty for printers sometimes, but I don't know. What's your, I've had Canon printers. They've been worse. I've had Dell laptops. I think Dell is kind of a partner with HP though, so I'm probably just buying HP all the time. I think HP makes a shit ton of stuff, but I'd have to look it up. I know they make a shit ton of laptops. I know that much. But if you look at this, like I said, if you look at these this price to earnings ratio on this stock and just the moving average on this stock, it looks good. Again, I'm not giving stock advice on this channel because that's not what I do. But if you're if you're looking to buy, just take a hard look at this one. I know I'm gonna anyway. So, yeah, well, yeah, I had my first computer was an IBM, and I had to replace the monitor, I had to replace the hard drive. So, I don't know. I think they're all made that way. I think they're made so that basically 1 in 5 are going to be shit, and that kind of keeps them pumping out more and more hardware for their systems. So I don't know. So I don't know. Everybody seems to be shitting on HP on this this chat, but I don't know what the alternative is at this point. So, but if they get into the AI market and they're kind of like sort of one of the first in to integrate it into their laptops and PCs, could be really good for their stock. So for our intents and purposes with this right now, with what we're talking about, that could be a really good thing. Hot poop, eh? HP equals hot poop. That's funny. Invest in hot poop. I invest in hot poop. I actually invested in hot poop earlier. So no. All right. Okay. Let me get the other screen. Let me change it back. Here we go. Here's my face. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for jumping into the chat. As always, it's nice to have you guys in the chat. It's nice to have some talk amongst ourselves going on. It makes it less rigid for me. If you are watching, you have watched. If you're one of the viewers that jumped in and out of the podcast, I encourage you to jump into the chat from time to time. As you can see, we all talk to each other. We I comment on everything that's being said. Usually, if I can, obviously. So yeah, do that. If you're not already a subscriber and you like the podcast, do subscribe to the channel. Like, share, all that kind of stuff. All that engagement helps a small channel like this grow. And like I said, I've been growing slow. And thanks to this week, what I've talked about, I'm probably not going to have the greatest growth or the greatest exposure. So you can help that by sharing it with friends, that kind of stuff, and just pushing the content out, getting around any kind of algorithms that might not like what I talk about. So, you're using Samsung? Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I guess Samsung makes laptops. I never even thought about that. But okay, well, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. For anybody else who isn't subscribed, again, like I said, subscribe. Check out all the topics that I talked about over the week from Tuesday to Sunday, 5 o'clock. They drop. I'm not sure if I'll drop all 6, but if I do, then there'll be 1 per day. And like and share all that. And look for me next week, or potentially, you never know, if weather's nice. Catch me on a Friday impromptu podcast around the fire or around the pool or something like that. So just look for me. Always Monday at 7 o'clock. Well, unless I let you know otherwise. Till the next time, buddy. Thanks for jumping in. I know it's late for you. I always appreciate you being on the podcast. So we'll see all of you next week, at the very least 7 o'clock on Monday. Although it is a holiday, I think, so you never know. Something might happen, but I'll let you know prior to. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.